Here's the story of a bunch of podcasts who were bringing Cubby content to the world. All of them did their own show. Unconnected, obsessive baseball nerds. It's the story of a bunch of Cubs fans who are consolidating all their shows. They're uniting, doing it together, so we all can grow. Cup of Cubby Blues combining with some Ranto, baseball rabbit hole and Cubs PS Plus. With Cubs Pod and Bricks behind the ivy, they're all teaming up to be the Bleacher Bunch, the Bleacher Bunch. We love the Cubs, that's the way we became the Bleacher Bunch.
Welcome to the Bleacher Bunch. My name is Danny Rocket here with the fabulous Sarah Sanchez. We are your hosts this evening on the Bleacher Bunch on the Fans First Network. This show is brought to you by all of our Patreon supporters who support us at patreon.com/Bleacher Bunch. Go over there and support us. You can hang out with us on such days as opening day, which is next Tuesday. We'll be on the Discord with all of our Patreon supporters over there. Come hang out. But I'd also like to especially thank our Patreon supporters, Blake Beard and Rogue Wave Creative, not to mention all the great Cubs podcasts like the Bleacher Bunch, Cubs PS Plus. I'm wearing the hat, you see, Cubs PS Plus. And check this out. I've got 3 Cubs PS Plus podcast hats to give away this evening. It's a very special chance. So hashtag chance in the chat. We'll get to that. But also a Cup of Cubby Blue. That's me and Sarah's show together. We were incredible on our last show. I thought talking about Yachty being the manager. Oh, that's much must-hear Cubs content.
Yeah, how's it going, Danny? I'm here. I've been yelling at senators all day long. I took a break for Cubs fans.
Chuck Schumer!
This is like Cup of Cubby Blue After Dark. I write the BCB After Dark column sometimes over at BCB. This is like what happens after we've hit the vape pen and had a drink. It's Cup of Cubby Blue After Dark.
I also want to thank Bricks Behind the Ivy. They had a really good show this week. I'll show it to you or talk about it a little bit in the Cubs Cast Corral later on in the show. But they had Jeff's roommate is a big Reds fan, so he had him on talking all about the Reds this year. I'm scared of the Reds. They beat us last year. Also, Michael Cotton's Baseball Rabbit Hole, Cubs Pod. That'll be starting soon. As soon as there are official games, there will be official Cubs Pods. That's our daily Cubs game recap show. And, of course, my show, the Sun Ranto Show, which, I mean, isn't that all of our shows? We're all a little bit of ranter inside of each one of us. Also, thank you to In the Clutch shirts. I'm wearing my We Need More Cups shirt, getting ready for my cup snake making in the bleachers. And also Matt Kammerer's permanent paintings. And Sarah, I need your instant reaction to Matt Kammerer's new design in the works. This is not done, but this is where we're heading. Matt Kammerer opening day Bleacher Bum Band poster for Output Lounge. Going to look a little something like this. Bleacher Bum Band and a hot dog. Come on now.
I like it. That's good. I like it. That's a good shirt. And, you didn't mess it up with any ketchup or anything. I like it.
Matt knows what he's doing.
This is good.
And this is more going to be a poster. We could make it a shirt, but the shirts will not be ready in time. But maybe I could talk to good old Reds fan Billy DeVore, and he could put it up for sale on In the Clutch shirts, and then everybody could buy one but me because I'm too cheap to buy my own shirt. But
this is good. I like it. This is great.
Yeah, so thank you to Matt. I can't wait to and look what he did. This was the original sketch he sent me, and I was like, hell yeah. And then he made it into this. Like, this is what artists can do. Look, I love looking at the progress. Anyway, progress. Cubs are in Japan. That's some progress.
Please tell me
talk about that.
A screen grab of Justin Turner in a kimono with the Cubs hat, because that was
I got it. I got everything.
Okay, good.
We'll go through it.
All right. So generally, I criticize the Cubs for their giveaways, not having enough of them, making us get there 2 hours early if we want a bobblehead or whatever. I need the Cubs to add a giveaway to this year's schedule, because Justin Turner kimono giveaway day has to happen. And they just need to figure it out. Somebody has to order 10,000 kimonos that look like that Justin Turner thing. Maybe they could put the beard and the mustache on it. So it'd be like a blue kimono with a Justin Turner beard and mustache. That you are welcome, Cubs marketing department. That day will sell out. Oh
yeah. Well, they could even do like a special ticket. You know how they get you with like the special ticket where you have to buy the thing and then go to some
but
section.
Then you get it for sure.
You get it. You don't have to show up early either, which is always kind of nice. It's kind of worth paying for. So we're going to talk about the Cubs being in Japan. We are going to look at pictures of Justin Turner in a kimono. We're going to have the Cubs Cast Corral where, boy, man, the Cubs, hot and heavy, these Cubs casts, all the podcasts coming out. There must be 700 right now, podcasts going strong, like people that and there's probably ones that are new that I don't even know about. So if you have a Cubs podcast and you want me to listen to it and add to the Cubs Cast Corral, please turn me on to your stuff.
But pour one out for the people who kept podcasting through Blue Friday and the COVID pandemic. And like a bunch of people kind of took a break for large chunks of that time period where they're like, I don't know, man, Frank Schwindel isn't very good. And I'm just not going to anymore. And now everybody's coming back. Everybody's like, I want a Cubs podcast. Kyle Tucker's kind of cool. We were here the whole time.
Yeah, and welcome. But here on the Bleacher Bunch, we welcome the new shows. Like that's my new thing. I'm just gonna be very generous.
A little shade with the welcome. I'm feeling petty tonight, Danny. I'm pissed.
Good.
Like I came to this show pissed off, and y'all are gonna get me a little unfiltered. So I apologize.
Speaking of old podcasts that didn't stick around, look at Ivy Evie. Quitters.
They're actually the OG podcast. I think I came in way later than them,
the OG one. I mean, I won't go into the history of Cubs podcast, but Cubs Cast with Lou and Sheps. Yeah. We're talking 2007, 2008, before people were even talking about podcasts. Like they figured out how to do this stuff. And then Ivy Envy, we came on, Sun Ranto came on at the same time as Wrigleyville Nation. So we were like neck and neck with those guys. So, and then many followed. And now it's like there's 700, but like I try to listen to them all. I don't get to them all every week. Like this week, I didn't even do Chuggo because I listened to all the other ones. I'm like, well, I didn't do Chuggo this week. I'll do them next week. You know, it's fine because we're all saying the same shit. But every now and again, somebody has a nugget of journalistic excellence, and that man could be tonight, and that could be our friend Ken Schultz, who's going to stop by. He's a journalist at Outsports, very good journalist, and our friend. We've caught a lot of games with him. He's also a comedian, very funny stand-up comedian. So you'll get to know him if you don't already. And then at the last section, I did a little research on some of these Japanese teams we're facing. We got the Hanshin Tigers and we got the Yomiuri Giants, and they have a long and storied history. So I figured we'd talk about that too. Hashtag chance in the chat, and you can win a Frank Chance postcard sent to you with a message of love and doom and a Cubs PS Plus podcast hat from Mike Waller. He left me a few, and what is Terry?
We're the NATO of podcast networks. We're the we're the ultimate alliance. You mess with us, we will Article 5 you.
Yeah. All right. Now let's say which podcast is which NATO member country.
Oh wait. Okay. Well, I'm clearly Spain, right?
You got Spain, sure. Because Mexico is not in the
Mexico's not in NATO. If Mexico was in NATO, I would definitely be Mexico.
What is Sun Ranto?
What's
the Italy?
No. I was gonna say Ireland because they're kind of feisty.
Yeah. Okay. We could be the Ireland. Are they in NATO? Ireland?
I think so. I'm pretty sure Ireland is in NATO.
Do they even have an army? This got a bunch of drunk guys who drink a bunch of Guinness and kick the shit out of you.
So what's really funny about what's going on right now is NATO kind of doesn't have an army because they've just been relying on the United States for so long, which is kind of why these crazy people who are in control of our government think they have a legitimate case to make here. They don't. But now what's going to happen is Germany and France and all of them are going to rearm. Like it's going to be like an arms race to the moon. And the thing about those people not having an army is they have all the wealth and materials to build an army. They just kind of have sat it out because it was safer that way. But now it's not going to be safe anymore. Good job.
Well done. Well, wait, nothing bad ever happened when Europe had an army, did it? How about Germany? That nothing bad happened with who's the Germany Cubs podcast? That's what I want to know. Is that like Bleacher Nation's new podcast?
I was just gonna say I was gonna say Bleacher Nation, and I couldn't.
Those guys are too. I said
they're
it.
Germany. They're Germany.
Those guys, listen, they have a great show too. I listened to it today, and I love hearing Brett and Michael talk about baseball because they love the Cubs, and they're both really nice guys. So like, there's nothing wrong, but they still are the Germany though. Well,
okay, wait. Can I just say that? Okay, hold on. Some cool stuff is going on here. First of all, Fitzy Shaw says you are Norway or Sweden. I think that's right. I think one of those countries just joined, like Sweden or Finland or something. They just barely joined, and welcome. Well, we're only in there for a little bit longer, but who knows? We've got this one, Cabo de Puerto Rico. Yes, and Puerto Rico, as part of the United States, still part of NATO technically for a little bit. We've got an argument about Ireland here that is honestly pretty smart. I honestly don't know the answer. I was kind of making stuff up there.
They're not listed.
The question is if Ireland is part of the UK for military purposes.
I gotcha. Probably they are, I would say. I don't
know. Can we talk about baseball? I'm over this. Well, I know I did this test, but
Well, we were talking. We can transition well because there is. This is not a great way to transition, but since we were talking about World War II, we're going to Japan. And I know that.
Yeah, hopefully that goes better.
This time, I think it's going to go way better than last time. So far, we got Justin Turner and kimono, so that's fun.
This is honestly, Cubs, make this giveaway happen. This has to happen.
Yeah, I like it too. It's like little rainbow kimono action, but it's like not all rainbow. It's like mostly blue, and then there's little like splotches of red in it. Like it's not really rainbow, but like splotches of red color. So it's very much a Cubs kimono. In fact, it looks like upside down C's or sideways C's.
Oh, I didn't even notice that, but that's good. Yeah, I do see that. I think this is a good look for Justin Turner, and I'd like him to bring it back to the States.
I mean, shit, he might be faster running to first base in this thing. He's 40 years old, just like, let the man not wear pants like Clark, And then what do you think of this? Like, did you see?
Yes, I did see all of this, and this is good. Like, this is like not, so I'm sure there are like varieties of kimonos, and these have like different names or something, but yeah, this was a good look for all of them. I also I'm into Seiya and Shota kind of trolling Craig Counsell and the rest of their team. Like, live it up, boys.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's on their turf, so they can just kind of show off as the hometown guys. But I love this graphic, and I'll describe it for anybody listening on the podcast. Is there's a cub bear, and he's got like, doesn't it look like he's got armor on his legs? Kind of. He probably doesn't. It's just the way the drawing is. But
no, it does. It looks almost like the thing
samurai
don't get hit. Yeah. But also the samurai thing. Yeah, I agree.
But he's carrying a bat, which kind of looks like a samurai sword in his mouth.
Well, speaking of samurai swords, Danny.
Oh yeah. Well, I have that video.
You've got that, right? Yeah, okay, good. Then I won't spoil it, but keep going.
Yeah. Well, but I love that logo. Talk about a Cubs giveaway.
I would love that too. Yes, I want one. 10-10.
Well, anyway, here's Seiya. You got to unmute yourself if you want to narrate on it. But here's Seiya smashing baseball or cutting baseballs in half with a samurai sword, which the Cubs released on their everywhere. Check it out. Seiya comes to the plate with a sword. Now, this could have gone way wrong. I smell a John Pickus worst case scenario here, where like he accidentally cuts his own foot off. Listen to that sound. There's the crack of the bat, and there's the slice of the ball now. It hit the cameraman. So thanks to TikTok for still being here and downloadable for that. But that's incredible. Yeah, just wild. I mean, content. Hashtag content.
Like, so the sword, okay, so the bat has a much bigger surface area than the sword. And like, to hit all of those baseballs, I mean, I understand that Seiya is a professional, but that's that is a very small area to hit the baseball. And baseball's, some of those went like smooth through. They were just like crazy.
I mean, I kind of want to do that. Like, I think I'd rather stand
I
up.
really think you should not. I think that this is one of those things that might kill a normal person.
I mean, I'm saying I'd rather swing a sword at a baseball than a bat these days, because I've just never done it before. I've swung bats. I'm not good at it. Maybe I'm good at the sword.
I see. So my hunch is that if you're not good at the bat swinging the sword is worse.
You never know. I still have faith. What else do I have? Oh, some pictures of who's this? Oh, this is Kyle Tucker, right?
So cute. Yes, that's Kyle Tucker.
He's with his, and he's wearing his like kimono coat. I guess it's not a kimono because that's what she's wearing. I guess that's his wife. I hope that's his wife.
I have no idea. I don't know.
Some explaining to do.
So I know Kyle Tucker is very good at baseball. I still am getting to know all of his personal details.
He's got white dad sneakers, I'll tell you that much. Like, dude, step up your sneaker game. Like, Boog. Like, this is the one time that Boog could actually come in handy. And he's not even there, by the way. So, Boog will not be calling these games. We're Boogless in Tokyo, I saw somebody put in the chat. And Alex Cohen is there, which he's been part of a lot of the content. People have been giving him crap for, like, posting pictures of Morton's Steakhouse and 7-Eleven. People are like, I know he's doing it as a troll, but
yeah.
But also Scotty Shangyan is there. He's one of the Cubs. Scotty Shags. He's one of the Cubs photographers, and he's coming up with great content. And Taylor McGregor is there, like eating ramen noodles and stuff, and like making her own TikTok content. Go check her out. But I thought this was kind of funny. Scotty Shags retweeted it with laughing emojis, which was he took a picture of Taylor McGregor making a TikTok of her eating ramen noodles, and it has like a little caption on each aspect of that. So it's like Jameson Hiller says, "Me, that's me. I'm Taylor McGregor. What she's eating is Cubs content from Japan, so he's eating the Cubs content, and there's Scotty Shags just filming it all." And it's true. Like, we're so lucky to have these guys out there. It really has been fun. I've got massive FOMO for not being there. I just got back from Poland, so I shouldn't have FOMO, but I do. I dropped Bleacher Jeff off yesterday after band rehearsal and gave him a big hug and be like, have a good time. I sent him $100 to go buy this guy. I'm going to call him Samurai Mike. His name is Cub Fan Mike on Twitter, but I gave him a new name. Because I do stuff like that. But anyway, I got FOMO. How about you, Sarah?
Not really. I mean, I would go watch baseball in Japan in an instant, but it's a really busy time at work for me. There's no way I could have gone to the series at all. So it was never a thing that I even thought about doing. It was more like this is going to be very cool for me to watch. And I'm excited to watch. I'm so excited to watch it. I'm going to get up at 5:00 in the morning to watch it live. Maybe with some of y'all. And I, that's what I always kind of expected. I will say, when I saw Al Yellen heading out to Japan today, that I was a little jealous that Al was going, because
how did that man go all the way to Japan? He'll go all the way to Japan, but he would not go to Game 7 of the World Series in Cleveland. Like, what is wrong? I just don't understand. Well, that's good. And he's going with Miriam too. And a lot of people are going. Bleacher Jeff is going. Everybody knows that for obvious reasons, because we paid for it.
Yeah.
But he says on Twitter, this still doesn't feel real. There's an old tweet. Flying out in 2 days. Plans are made. A big group of Cubs fans going over there has formed. This is going to be an amazing trip. So grateful. Going to make the most of it. Make sure to follow along. So if you don't follow Bleacher Jeff, you should. And he said that they've got a big WhatsApp thread set up with Samurai Mike. He didn't know that's his name yet. I gave him money for beer. I'm like, buy him a beer, tell him his name is Samurai Mike, it will be good. But he's setting up a ton of like fun events. Like, they're gonna go karaoke, they're gonna go eat all this food. He's gonna go see if you remember Tatsuya, who I gave him his first shot of Malort, and his daughter Nagi, and what's his wife? I'm drawing a blank. Oh no. But anyway, he's gonna go see their family. And Yuka's her name, and he's gonna go see them. So it is really gonna be a great trip. And I gave him $100 on the Ranters. I'm like, spend this on just all the people, all the things. I know the $100 doesn't get you very far in Japan, but it's a thought that counts. I do have a little FOMO. I know Crawley does. I was talking to him about it a little bit. I think most of us do. But I certainly didn't want to see this. Like, this is just gross. AI is just horrible sometimes. And somebody made Craig Counsell a sumo wrestler, gave him the sumo wrestler haircut and no shirt, and I just didn't need to see that.
You know what they should have done is sumo Craig Counsell in his batting stance.
Well, Shota kind of took care of that. They banged some ceremonial drum.
It was so good. No, it's a sake barrel.
A sake barrel.
Yeah, it's a ritual. It's supposed to clean something, like it's supposed to do something lucky or cleansing or something. I read about this earlier and I promptly forgot the specifics, but it's a ritual.
Well, I hope the Dodgers didn't do it too, because
I know, I was wondering that actually. I was like, do the Dodgers get access to all of these rituals? Because I sort of want the Cubs to have an edge.
Yeah, well, I would like to check that out. I actually had the thought. I'm like, I wonder what the Dodgers coverage looks like, because they've done this kind of thing before. They were in Korea last year. Probably their fans are like, Jesus, every damn year we got to get up at 2 a.m. once opening day. I'd be a little annoyed if I was a Dodgers fan. I'm like, could the Phillies do it this year? Like, they played in November. Like, they played a whole month later than the Cubs. They're starting 2 weeks earlier. I know.
You'll get no sympathy for the Dodgers for me. Like, I truly don't care. They bought all of the free agents, and good luck. Baseball is a hell of a ride. It's as random as anything ever.
They got Say out there having a good time. It's all decorated up. You see, there's the Dodgers. This is inside the Tokyo Dome. Here's the Cubs one. I love
the Cubs one. The Cubs one rules.
Yeah.
It's so much better than. Okay, go back. This is one time the Cubs have absolutely defeated the Dodgers. This is just like a Dodgers logo, and we get the marquee.
Yeah.
Hi, you lose, LA.
And then they got the players all hung around, all big.
God,
yeah.
I wonder if they're going to bring those same banners back, or if they're going to have their own unique ones like they always have around Wrigley.
Yeah, they'll probably have their own ones. They'll probably be going up, about a week before? They might even be starting to put them up now,
They usually put them up a few days before opening day, but they're not up yet.
I saw they were rolling out the grass.
Yeah.
They had the turf and the new turf and stuff. So what do you think of this Japan roster? I mean, it's kind of,
whatever.
Well, the big news is the Matt Shaw thing. Everybody's like, oh, they brought Matt Shaw, but he's not on the 40-man. So now there's still consternation. Is like, is he going to play? Like, he's probably will, or is he on the taxi squad? Like, nobody knows yet.
We won't know. We won't know until the last possible minute, because that's when the Cubs are going to tell us, and we won't know. I mean, it's cool for Matt Shaw that he got to go regardless. I don't think that the Cubs would have taken him just to be on the taxi squad. I think they brought him to put him on the 40-man, and that means somebody is going to get DFA'd to make room for Matt Shaw on the 40-man.
Well, Keegan Thompson, I guess, got DFA'd, and they're moving on from him. I mean, it was but there was no corresponding move, and then that move might have been what's his name, Brad. Wait, do I have his name right? Yeah, Brad Keller, because they brought Brad Keller with them.
Brad Keller wasn't on the 40-man.
Right, and so that move might have been him.
Well, then they have to DFA someone else.
So you've got a lot of new. You've got a lot of pitchers going out there. A ton of relievers. Ryan Presley, Ryan Brazier. That's what I call him anyway. I know it's Brazier.
That is not how you say his name.
That's not how you spell it either, is it?
It's definitely not. That has like Z's and shit in it.
Yeah. This is from Bleacher Nation, by the way. I should shout them out. So this is their misspelling of Ryan Brazier's name.
Is this an actual roster, or is this what they think it is?
No, I believe this is who went to Japan.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean Brad Keller's on the 40-man. So
correct.
The taxi squad does not have to be on the 40-man.
Right. So he could be taxi. We don't know yet. So I'm just saying who went to Japan. Porter Hodge, Nate Pearson, Caleb Thielbar, their lefty. So only one lefty
The lefty.
yeah.
Long
Unless you
live
count
Jed Hoyer not signing left-handed relievers.
Julian Merriweather, Brad Keller, and then Tyson Miller, Eli Morgan, Daniel Palencia is going to Japan, throwing gas, and Colin Ray, which maybe you could even consider him like a fifth starter too. And then they have a bunch of starters for some reason. And once again, these guys won't all be on the 26. There's 31 of them, I guess, all together that went. Shota, Justin Steele, Jamison Tyone, Matthew Boyd, Ben Brown went, and so did Jordan Wicks.
Yeah, but so this doesn't really surprise me all that much. The way that the Dodgers and Padres handled this game in Korea last year is they basically used almost like an opener, right? So their starting pitcher would go a couple of innings and then somebody else would go a couple of innings. They treated it more like a spring training game than anything else. And so you have this many starters around so you can do stuff like that because you're not planning on Justin Steele pitching 7 innings and you're not planning on Shota pitching 7 innings. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'd love it if they did, but that's not the plan. I do think a lot of those starters are probably on the taxi squad and that they're there for injury replacement reasons. It would not surprise me if, say, Colin Ray and Matt Boyd and Jordan Wicks or Ben Brown were on the actual roster to be one of those like bulk guys. But I think that most of those guys are there, like Jamison Tyone and whatnot. They're there in case somebody gets hurt.
And I wonder who's going to start these games. Like there's one tomorrow, and
Right.
and they've got to play the Yomiuri Giants, and they also have the Hanshin Tigers to play too. So who's going to they got to pitch in those? They got to play 9 innings there as well. So maybe those are all bullpen games or like a warm up thing or a side session for one of the guys. Like, well, they'll figure it out. They're all on their schedules, and I think they'll stick to it regardless of the fact that these games are going to count. Now a little bit more help might be coming in the form of Lance Lynn. I just have to bring this up because for reasons, talk about 40-man roster crunch. Now we're going to bring Lance Lynn.
What are we doing?
Look here's his long and storied career.
Okay.
You got how long you got? We could go through this thing. His 73-year career.
Look at I can't. What are we? Look at the ERAs from 2023 on.
Yeah, no, I don't know why you're doing this.
This is not good. This is not helpful to anyone. How old is he? 92? There was a moment when I was watching
37.
What?
37 years old.
That is the oldest looking 37-year-old man I've ever seen in my life. Do we have a recent picture of Lance Lynn? Because honest to God, the last time I watched that man walk out on a mound, I was like, he looks 56. I thought he was rivaling Bartolo Colon in age.
There's Lance Lynn.
That is Justin.
Sorry.
That is Evil Gimli, as I called him when he was a Dodger.
They're kind of the same guy. I mean, Lance Lynn's like a chubbier Justin Turner.
No, but Lance Lynn looks worse. Lance Lynn looks like he it caused him to break a sweat to walk from the dugout, and you bet he smells like tobacco and booze, right? He just
sadness.
That looks the fact that he's 37 is honestly blowing my mind. That dude looks like he's old enough to be my dad.
Well, maybe he's going to give us some Rod Beck action, like Rod Beck.
Rod Beck wasn't exactly the pinnacle of health.
That's what I mean. He's freaking already dead. He's so not healthy.
Not making jokes about it.
So anyway, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to bring on our friend Ken Schultz, who's a comedian, journalist. And anyway, we're going to have a nice conversation about some stuff that's on his mind this off season. But first, I'm going to play a commercial for our Patreon and also a Cubs Cast Corral, which is going to bring you through the magical gauntlet that is Cubs Podcastum right now. And afterwards, we're going to, after that, I'm going to give away #chance in the chat, a Cubs PS Plus hat to one lucky winner and a Frank Chance postcard sent to you by me with a message of love and doom, all in Japanese. I'm going to write it in fake Japanese. It's just going to be just random markies that look like Japanese.
Fake Japanese. Really outdoing yourself there, Danny.
Yeah, you know what? Anything for the fans. That's what I say. So we'll be right back, and just subscribe to us, patreon.com/Bleacher Bunch, even though this commercial says something else.
The Son Ranto Show has hired me, a professional voiceover actor, to tell you why you should become a Son Ranto Patreon patron at patreon.com/sunranto. First of all, it's only $1 a month. And if you can't afford $1, I don't even know that the Son Ranto Show wants you as a listener, because you're too poor to even hang out with anyway. Also, as a Patreon member, you get the Son Ranto Show ad-free, and the Patreon-only podcast called Cubs Pod, which releases daily during the season with bonus episodes all off-season long. Son Ranto Patreon members are also eligible to win a monthly prize, get exclusive Son Ranto Discord page privileges, and there are more perks at every level. Plus, 10% of your Patreon support goes to help the Lost Boys Youth Baseball Program as we give back to our community. So what are you waiting for? Spend your hard-earned money on tickets and beer for the Son Ranto Show by subscribing at patreon.com/sunranto. Otherwise, they'll think you're a poor loser. A big, fat, dorky, poverty-stricken loser. Take it from me and by commanding professional voice, and become a Son Ranto Patreon supporter right now.
Cubs Cast Corral. Yeah!
Welcome to the Cubs Cast Corral, a 5-minute roundup of some of the best Cubs podcasts on the planet. Let's get started with the Bricks Behind the Ivy show, one of the Bleacher Bunch's very own. Jeff had on Reds fan and former roommate Andy Evans to preview the Reds season this year. They picked up a few guys in the offseason, Gavin Lux, Austin Hayes, pitcher Wade Miley. They even improved their bullpen with Taylor Rogers, but not the cool Rogers that throws underhand. Andy thinks it might be one of the most solid rotations he's seen in years. Then on Locked On Cubs, Sam talked about how he's feeling confident about year 2 with Craig Counsell now that he's had his chance to get his own guys in there. But so far, he's just been an expensive David Ross. They also talked about it being a make-or-break year for Nico Horner with only 2 years left on his contract. Then, the Dingers podcast, Mitch had on Matt and Sam from Locked On Cubs, and they pondered if opening day really feels like opening day this year because it's happening in Japan. They talked about this year's Cubs lineup being a little bit longer and better, but with some concern that they would go silent as they have in the past. Matt's biggest concern was not getting another top-line starter this year, and they made the point that we don't even know who the number 5 is. Ian Happ on the compound talked about how it's difficult to face pitchers in spring because you can't prepare because it's always a different guy, but also that you can't pull up and you got to play the game as you would always play it. I still think that Tom talks about the Yankees too much on that show. Just my 2 cents. On the setup, man, Kyle wonders, why are the Cubs carrying an ungodly amount of pitchers to Japan? Are these just going to be insane ball games where Steele and Shota toss 2 innings and then it's just up to the pen who wins the... Yes, the answer is yes. They also pondered the nefarious thought that Matt Shaw is simply just on the taxi squad. On the recap podcast, Gordon Wittenmeyer asks, where are you going to get the wins this year in this strong National League? Not on the coasts. But Kaplan sees a very improved Cubs squad this year. And they also pointed out that the Cubs have a really tough domestic opening day because we're going to face Corbin Burns of the Diamondbacks. And the Cubs have no soft spots in their schedule, especially in April, not like in 2016 when half the league was tanking. Then on the Wrigleyville Nation podcast, Jeremy and Pat had on James Nouveau from NBC. Jeremy is not a fan of the Cubs playing these games in Japan in mid-March when nobody is ready yet. And they talked about the implications of ESPN dropping baseball and how the two sides seem to be incredibly far apart when it comes to money. Also, the higher-tier cable marquee channel is making the Cubs even less available, and just a sad state of affairs when it comes to broadcasting baseball these days. They also profiled Moises Alou and made the case that if he had only caught that ball, only 1 run would have scored in that inning, and the Cubs might have gone to the World Series. We all know what we're talking about. On Northside territory, they pointed out that they must really think highly of Matt Shaw to bring him to Japan without putting him on the 40-man roster. And they also talked about reliever Brad Keller in the exact same boat, making the trip, being the flame-throwing diamond in the rough this year. They cautioned, though, of making too much of these spring stats because the average pitching that anybody's facing is AA level. Finally, on the Bleacher Nation podcast, Michael and Bert think it's weird to play 2 games that count and then 5 games that don't count. I tend to agree with that. And then they asked, do these games really count anyway in terms of a 162-game season? It might not be played like a game later in the season. It's been pointed out, like maybe it's a piggyback situation with, Shota and Yamamoto, and, just might be a totally different situation, especially from a pitching standpoint. Then they played a thought experiment and asked, what former Cub in their prime would you switch in for a current Cub? Interesting thought experiment. I say we play it too. And that, my friends, has been your Cubs Cast Corral. Welcome back to the Bleacher Bunch. Hashtag chance to the chat to win the hat and the Frank Chance postcard.
Am I switching a former Cub into the current Cubs for the Japan series or for like the whole season?
I mean, we could say whatever we want, I mean, what would you do? Like for all right, let's just say just
no, this is the easiest decision I've ever had.
The same.
No.
Wilson Contreras, right? I
mean, I love me some Wilson Contreras, and I think Wilson Contreras is like light years better than Miguel Amaya or Carson Kelly, but like, no, because Moises Ballesteros exists and it'll be fine. I think my answer is Ryan Sandberg at the peak of his powers for Nico Horner. And I was real tempted to say a Aramis Ramirez for Matt Shaw, but it's got to be Rhino, man. Like Rhino or bust. Right? MVP Ryan Sandberg. Let's go.
That's pretty good. I kind of like the idea.
Elite defense. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
I mean, by prime, I would take 1987 Andre Dawson out in right field, and it's only because he is my
Kyle Tucker.
I know,
you're swapping out your best player for another great. No, you can't.
I didn't say it made baseball sense. It's just what I want to do.
No, I'm going to demand baseball sense, and I'm going to demand it.
Okay, how about this? And one of them brought this up. I forget which one. How about? And I really loved that great year that Derek Lee had when he won the batting championship. And I know I'm getting rid of Bush now. Obviously, like Nico Horner is like a kind of the weak spot on the situation. Sandberg would. You have a great choice. We can switch out Hap.
How are you trading in a first baseman and his name's not Anthony Rizzo? Like, I love Derek Lee as much as the normal everyday person. Anthony fucking Rizzo? I'm allowed to swear on the show, right?
Yeah.
This is the show I can swear
once again,
on.
I don't care.
I can remember if we were trying to be family friendly.
Yeah, I don't think anybody lets their kids watch me at this point. So
I mean, if we had like a peak powers elite shortstop, I think Dansby is the guy that should go, right? Because but Javi had that swing and miss, and he's a little bit. I don't know, man. I don't know what's. Ernie,
I wouldn't switch
Ernie really wasn't that great of a defender. Dansby's probably a better defender than Ernie.
How about Billy Williams? Did he play left or right? Billy Williams for Hap.
I think left, but I feel like our guest knows this answer better than me, and I should really let him answer.
Well, we'll bring him on. We'll bring him on for the giveaway, and then so Ken could be a part of that. So welcome, Ken.
Hello,
Ken. Where did Billy Williams play?
Left field.
Thank you.
Yes.
See, all right. So Billy Williams for Hap, even though I never saw that guy play, and I'd rather.
Yeah, that's
have Andre
fine.
Dawson.
That's 100%. Yeah, Billy Hap is like one of those annoying guys that's just slightly above average. We could have traded out Alfonso Soriano for Hap, man. Like let's just add in some guys who have swag.
Alfonso Soriano's first 2 years with the Cubs were incredible. Like better than I'm sure than anything Hap has done in his career. And I'm a Hap guy, at least in terms of I do like having him around. But yeah, Alfonso Soriano was superstar level his first couple of years with the Cubs.
And that's the difference, is having somebody that's like 140 WRC plus instead of like the 120 consistent guy, which you need them both. But
hey, Danny, would you like to guess who put up a 140 WRC plus last season in 385 plate appearances with the St. Louis Cardinals?
Lance Lynn. Just kidding.
Wilson Contreras.
Well,
That
see,
was
you
Wilson
switched
Contreras'
them out.
WRC Plus last season. Just wanted to remind people of that back there.
Well, let's give away a hat. Can we just give away a hat and then
Yeah.
we can move on with these ideas? Hashtag chance in the chat. I'm giving away a hat. I'm giving away a card. Somebody's going to win it in a Cubs PS Plus podcast hat from Mike Waller, the king of Cubs PS Plus. And Haley Kolar wins. Congratulations, Haley.
Haley.
You are the winner. Haley and her sister and I were the same grade in high school, and we went to the same high school too. So, and then we were like, "Hey, aren't you from?" Like one day in the bleachers, and we were to that person from there.
Nice.
So, Ken, introduce yourself. Comedian, journalist. What do you do?
General all around ne'er-do-well. Like anything that doesn't actually pay, I do it. Yeah.
like this show, for example, it's worth a ticket or a beer down the line.
I'm here, baby. Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
The adoring love of our fans.
Yeah. Can I play the game for a second?
Absolutely. Yes. I was just going to ask you, will you play the game? Who would you switch?
I mean, obviously this indicates the direction I'd go with that, but also like, can I go like just anywhere in the Cubs organization in general?
Anywhere.
Sure.
Oh, here we go.
No rules.
Do Theo for Jed?
There you go.
I can't believe I didn't think of that. That's so good.
Dallas Green for Jed? Can we do Wid fucking Matthews for Jed? Is that a thing?
Jim Hendry for Jed.
Well,
I'm right. I'm right. I'm right. Jim Hendry brought you Javier Baez.
Yes, I know. And then untold heartache. Yes,
but he did also sign Milton Bradley on his deathbed. So like, and then he didn't die.
Ramos Ramirez, people.
Yeah, I mean, they've all had their wins and losses. I'm sure in the moment that the Cubs podcasters of their time complained about it then. But yeah, you and I were talking earlier, and you said that you are in a bit of a conundrum about your feelings about this season and how it relates to Jed Hoyer.
Yeah, it's kind of, I guess, my annual conundrum, my angst, my maelstrom in my head that is centered on the Cubs president of baseball ops. That, I mean, ever since the trade deadline of 2021, where my heart was ripped out, stomped on the floor, and done several other Weird Al lyrics to, that it's felt that my fandom, Cub fandom in general, has been, while still existing, it's been like trying to root for the team underwater, if that makes sense. That there's like almost like a limit to how far I want to go emotionally ever since then. That's something that I've been trying to capture back, that still just isn't there. And yes, I know that the core has pretty much tanked ever since then, and keeping Javi around would just be seeing, 200 strikeouts in a Cubs uniform, and that would be bad. But man, I lost something on that day that I'm still not even close to getting back. And it's going into this season, especially, it feels like, at least in my world, we are tantalizingly close to a Jed Hoyer-list experience. And like, that feels like the number one goal of my fandom right now. What I want more than anything in the world is to just root for my favorite team without this guy running it again. But I also, there is nothing that I like less in terms of fandom than being the guy that like used to call into the score and be like, I hope the Bears lose this week to improve the draft position, and they got to get rid of this Dick Duran guy. Like, I don't want to be that guy either. Like, I don't want to root for strategic losses just because in the end it's going to lead to something better. But it's undeniable that wins also don't mean as much in terms of just pressing the joy button that they used to. And that's kind of the fight that I'm having in my head right now.
You're getting some support in the chat, and I just want to throw a couple things up here. Clint Nathan, how's it going, Clint? Hoyer got to go. Could not agree with you more. David is asking, are you willing to have the Cubs tank the season if it were to mean we could finally get rid of Jed? And I'm going to let Ken answer for himself, but I know the answer to this question.
Yeah, if I could somehow like thread the needle of saying yes to answer that question directly, that I would be willing to write off a season in order to get rid of him and just kind of get this millstone off of my back going forward, I would say yes. But I don't want to be the kind of guy that's rooting for losses every single day either. But if I'm also being completely honest, like if after losses every so often, like especially over the past couple of years, after losses, part of me was like, yeah, F you, Jed. So I do get some of that too. And that's just being like, open about my emotional state. So I guess what I'm trying to say, commenters, is I'm in a glass case like Anthony Rizzo was in the 2016 World Series. And boy, do I miss that.
Well, can I ask, because it's obviously the players that you're attracted to. And so who on this team is your favorite?
Yeah, in some cases, quite literally. But yeah, I mean, the
Me too, brother.
yeah, the far and away in terms of like the favorite on this roster, I am so grateful Shota Imanaga exists, that he is like the one guy who was able to kind of get me out of this weird neurotic state, and just through like the sheer joie de vivre that he pitches with, which is weird to describe one of the biggest Japanese stars in the game with French, but nonetheless, that's where my brain comes.
Fine, we're good.
Global world.
We're with you.
But just seeing
The rest of us still love NATO.
yes. Oh yeah. But just seeing like someone who is exuding that particular joy in the mound every start, and also mastering the lineups of the National League with at most 92, 93 miles an hour, and just brilliant pitching philosophy to kind of go into
a tough National League too. I don't think, Gordon Wittenmeyer was talking about that just the other day, about what a tough league it is right now. And it's gotten tougher. It was tough last year.
Mhm.
It's going to be tougher this year.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And he came in, he succeeded like to the more than we all thought we would. And then people are still naysaying it, being like, wow, the wind was blowing in. But like, no, he'll figure it out. No,
Yeah.
or that's what they say about him.
I mean, the wind was actually blowing in, but Shota splits weren't that terribly bad. They did exist. And I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but I wrote a piece for FTN Fantasy over the offseason looking at park effects, single year park effects, and the Cubs at Wrigley Field was one of the biggest single year park effects that existed. If I recall correctly, and these numbers are not going to be accurate, but they will be like the right gradation of what you should think the difference is. And I'll go look it up when one of y'all is talking. Shota had like a 2.65 ERA at Wrigley and like a 3.2 ERA away from Wrigley.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't like he became a bad pitcher away from Wrigley. It was just, he was not that sub-3 ridiculous guy. And I'll get the real numbers.
Yeah.
I mean, 3.2 is what we were expecting, and that's still like really good. I mean, it's not level, but
I mean, that would have been actually a really good year. That would have exceeded my expectations. I'm thinking Shota comes in, maybe pitches like Tyone style, like gives you maybe a high 3s, low 4s kind of thing. If all things being equal, if the wind's blowing up, maybe he's hitting a 5er. I don't know.
Yeah. I'll give you the exact numbers because I just pulled them up again.
Okay, cool.
96 innings at home. Shota had a 2.72 ERA, and in 77 and a third innings away, he had a 3.14 ERA. And if you are a person who cares about advanced metrics like FIP, because you're like, yeah, but what would actually happen? At home, his fielding independent pitching was 3.21. Away, it was 4.36. So, but most of the Cubs outperform their FIP because they have really good defense behind them. So that's not like a thing that's going to change.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how about you, Sarah?
Only a pitcher that fun would have his road ERA be pi.
Exactly. He's like, I did it on purpose.
Also, tomorrow State.
Yes.
I mean, what you said is intriguing to me, that like there's nothing that's captured us about this current Cubs squad. Like we've been calling them, we've been making fun of them. They're the travel ball boys. They're too white, they're boring. They're a lot of things are being said about that. And the relievers, like I can't tell one from another. It's just like big dude after big dude after big dude. It's fine. Like that's who's going to get the job done. But it's like there hasn't been really this like spark. Ian Happ, kind of dull. He's the worst one on his own podcast. It's freaking Dansby, boring. Not. Then you get a little PCA mixed in there. Now I'm starting to look. Sarah's not a PCA guy. She's not a blue star in the hair lady.
Only when Javi does it. Javi's the only one who can do that.
Now, PCA strikes me as a bit of a tryhard. That he wants you to see that he's swaggy before he's actually exuding the swag. And as you say, that's better in terms of like the imagination than most of this roster. So I will give him that.
It's
But,
sticking out to me probably because of that. Yeah.
For sure.
In comparison. On other teams, he's the 5th most interesting guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's yeah, go ahead, Sarah.
There's no one to cheer for on this team.
Tucker's boring too.
Yes, Kyle Tucker is the most travel ball of the superstars. Like if you line up the superstars, right? You're like Aaron Judge, Yordan Alvarez, like Juan Soto. You're like, you take the big bats, like the Bobby Witt Jr. You line them all, Shohei Ohtani. You line them all up. The most boring travel ball candidate in that crew, Fernando Tatis Jr. The most boring guy in the list is Kyle Tucker. Jed Hoyer was like, I want the most boring, non-splashy dude. That's what I want. I'm being real honest. I agree with everything Ken said. We've been jokingly calling some of our trips to Wrigley Field Cubs therapy for a couple of years now because we just bitch about the current state of affairs, the fact that Wilson Contreras isn't here and Christopher Morel got traded for a guy who sucked. And, what are we even doing here? They threw in Hunter Biggie for giggles. I'm looking forward to cheering for Moises Ballesteros, who I believe is the heir apparent to the keys to my heart. I'm sure Jed's just trying to trade him as we speak. Yeah. I'm sure Jed's like actively listening to deals on Moises Ballesteros just to spite me. But honestly, like I cheer for Wilson Contreras and Christopher Morel to do great things against the Cubs. I hope Jed Hoyer rues the day he walked away from both of them. And Miguel Amaya's fine, I guess. Shota's fine. Say's fine. They're fine. I like it when they win more than when they lose. They're fine.
And that's the question. If they did start winning, if they get to that 90 wins, with the Central, you got to win it because you're not going to win a wild card probably, is what they're saying on the streets. Or in Vegas anyway. They're just not a highly ranked team, but they could still win 90 if they can find wins somewhere. But is that going to be enough to like bring you back in? Or is it just like the players aren't really ever going to do it for you? And it'll be like the most successful, boring year that you ever saw. Like, what do you anticipate for your experience with this team?
Yeah, I mean, I can answer that by saying in 2023, which it was the hurt was a little bit even more fresh at that point. But one of the things I learned during that spurt from about the All-Star break on to about mid-September before Seiya dropped the fly ball.
The Tauchman catch.
Yeah.
Mike Tauchman, I'm actually really going to miss Mike Tauchman. Ken, continue. Sorry.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I mean, the thing that I learned about that run in particular was really the first time I noticed that for me, something felt off and wrong about the current squad. And it really wasn't even anything that they themselves were doing. It was just, I couldn't bring myself to get into it at the level that felt like I should have for a team that was contending until the last week of the season. And that's when, to kind of crystallize what you just asked, Danny, winning is not enough for me right now. I need
it to be fun.
Fun. And like that kind of, I guess when you break the connection to guys that I had kind of that level of attachment to, that I need to find somebody that kind of is a way back into that kind of connection. That Sarah, you and Moises Ballesteros, I'm envious that you've identified your guy going forward. Like Shota is the closest thing for me to that. And I don't think he's quite measuring up to that yet. And I'm still kind of searching for that guy who's going to bring me back in. And unfortunately, due to them coming over in the trade deadline, Pete Crow Armstrong and Kevin Alcantara need not apply. That's my thing. That's my neurosis. But yeah.
No, understandable.
On the Moises Ballesteros front, I'm cheating a little bit because like the reason it went Wilson Contreras to Christopher Morel to Moises Ballesteros, and I didn't even know this at the time, but like one of my reasons that Wilson Contreras is my favorite, and I just immediately like latched on from the day he hit that home run till now. I would cheer for him above everybody. Is the way he mentored the Latinos, the way he came up. He's so fiery and like such a good hitting catcher and like doing dumb stuff sometimes, like getting kicked out with John Lackey, and the guys had to sit him down and be like, you can't get kicked out when the pitcher gets kicked out. And Wilson's like, but that's my guy, like I love that shit. Like that is so like fired up and ready to go. and Morrell was so clearly under his wing. Like by the time Wilson was a grizzled vet on this team, there were literally like, why are all the Latinos sitting with Wilson in the dugout? And then there was like a bunch of other players sitting over here, and you could see it every single game if you had eyes to care to look at it. And when Morrell, like after Morrell, I was just like, I barely care. Like Mike Tauchman is my favorite player on this team, and they did him dirty too. So that's great. But Moises Ballesteros always, as Latino catcher who rakes, was going to be like, that was going to be a thing. At CubsCon this year, when they were asking the prospects, who is the player in the Cubs organization that most impacted you? And Moises Ballesteros said Wilson Contreras. We're done. We're done. Like it's a lineage, right? Like and I'd already identified him as going to be my favorite Cub. And it's like, nope, we're just going to like this. There's just a family tree. There's a Wilson Contreras family tree, and all of them will be my favorites.
Yeah, that might've been my second favorite moment of the entire CubsCon. Like, I mean, the first was the Rhino reception at the end and the opening ceremonies. I think that one ranks above Sammy for me, Sarah. So yeah.
Yeah, no, it was just like and you heard me squeal, like, my Latina squeal, but I'm sure it's on video somewhere. But like, that was it. That was it for me. And I'm digging some of the comments in the chat that I'm just going to share really fast. Cause Bernie, I miss Morrell too. Like the dude did nothing wrong. He should be here. And Maury Paz, man, like he's just joy. And they traded him for nothing. And I'm sure some bro out there on Twitter wants to tell me about, well, they wouldn't have Kyle Tucker if they hadn't gotten Isak Freitas. Fuck you, they would have Christopher Morrell and I'd be happier.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and it will always have his bobblehead.
Wilson would still be a Cub if Tom had paid for Apple Care. Exactly. If Tom was better at like understanding those risks and rewards, man. Yeah, and then yes, the bobblehead day was, and that was a superstar moment. That was that's honestly, actually we'll have all their bobbleheads. This is my bobblehead. This is the shrine. And the only one that's not up there yet is Christopher Morrell. And that's because I haven't taken him out of the box from last year yet.
Yeah, and that's the question: is like who would you want a shirt of? Who would you want? They can get all these pretty decent players and put together a successful team. But do you have anybody that you want their jersey or like think like a little kid would look up to? Or I don't see it. But maybe it exists, and I'm just an old grizzled man, which I have got to question myself on that. I'm like, did I just have my sweet spot? Now it's over and I'm never going to feel that way again.
I don't think so.
I'm with you.
I mean, or at least for me, I don't think that that's necessarily the case. Like, again, in my world, like as soon as they can Jed, like this is all back. We are back. We are so back when Jed is gone. That's kind of like the shortcut to everything. Yeah.
Clint with the real truth here. And by the way, I did buy one jersey last year. It was a Christopher Morrell jersey. I bought it on the street because it was the old Majestic Christopher Morrell jersey. It was half off from the street vendors instead of like going into, and I looked, I was like, how much is this? He said, oh, it's only 80 because he doesn't play here anymore. And I was like, it's the old Majestic jersey. He's like, yeah, it's the old one. I'm like, cool. Here's $80. I will take the better jersey for less money. Thank you very much.
So Ken, you got anything to plug? I mean, you got any stand-up shows coming up?
Yes.
I mean, I want to drop a link in the chat of some of your writing so people can go read what you wrote at Outsports. But tell me what's going on with you.
Yeah. So check out outsports.com is the best place to find me right now. That 2 or 3 times a week. I put out a couple of pieces there. I just did one this past week about a trans comedian from New York named Nico Carney, who before medically transitioning played Division I soccer for Wake Forest women's soccer and has a bit about that in his act now. And it is a thing. It is quite a story. It's funny as hell. He's a crack and whip smart comic. And it's a really unique comedy voice that we especially need to hear in the present moment.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. And thank you for telling these stories too, because it's important to keep this alive, to see, just even being present, and showing, we're here, we're queer, like that still works. You know what I mean? Like you're not going anywhere despite the best efforts of these assholes who Sarah's mad about tonight. She's for financial reasons.
I'm honestly like on one today, but that's fine. Clint is asking this question because I know Clint is coming to visit Chicago this week. And so, Ken, I don't know if you have the answer right now, but if there are any stand-up shows you want to point Clint to the week of 6/16, that's when he's coming to watch the Cubs.
Yeah, I am not on anything that week yet, but stay tuned. I'll put it out on social when I do get on something. So
Yeah, Clint wrote me that he's going to be here, so we'll have to find something to do. Maybe Joe Kilgallen might be playing too. Like they're
Joe's working all over the place. So
yeah, I was gonna have Joe. Joe's always busy on Thursdays. I ask him every week, Joe, can you come on tonight? He's like, no, I got another show at Zadie's or wherever he's going. But yeah, and you performed the last time I saw you perform was at Ranterfest last year, so that was fun. And Joe performed at that too, and the Billy DeVore. Yeah, we're gonna try to get that going. I mean, I would love to come see you perform. So please invite me to the next thing you're doing. Big or small, even if you're just going trying out material. Because I love your stuff and I love going to ball games with you. We have a great time. Just shooting the shit. So, but. Thanks for being here. And we're going to take another commercial break. And afterwards, I got a special treat for everybody because we're going to get to talk about the Japan series with none other than Infield Fly Girl, who's a huge fan of Asian baseball. And we got some fun stories about the Hanshin Tigers. And we're going to find out a little bit about the Yomiuri Giants and what's going on over there in Japan. And anyway, Ken, thanks for being here. Everybody check out Ken's stuff, please. And we'll be right back with, some more awesome Bleacher Bunch. Here's the commercial for In the Clutch shirts, which I'm wearing.
If you like the Cubs a bunch, buy your t-shirts from In the Clutch. We've got all the best styles for you. Dansby, Saya, Morel too. Clark Fly in his double U. Cody Bellinger, smoking dupes. Vintage shirts from days of old. Patrick Wisdom and Nico. You'll look sharp wearing your stro. 10% off with the code SONRANTO. SONRANTO. InTheClutch.com is your store for the most fun baseball shirts on the planet. Don't forget to use promo code SUNRANTO to knock a couple bucks off your purchase. Stack or die, we need more cups. Get it all at In the Clutch. Cause if you like the Cubs a bunch, buy t-shirts from In the Clutch. Get it all at In the Clutch. Get it all at In the Clutch.
Welcome back to the Bleacher Bunch. Check out this shirt I'm putting up right now. This is from In the Clutch shirts. Code SUNRANTO for 10% off. What do you think of that sucker?
I like that. I like that a lot.
It's got the Dodgers, got the Cubs, it's got the map of Japan, it's got all 4 Japanese players. That's available in the Clutch shirts right now. Commemorate this moment with an In the Clutch shirt. Code SUNRANTO, 10% off your purchase there. And we're going to give away another hashtag chance in the chat Cubs PS Plus hat. But first, to join us for this amazing and momentous moment is Infield Fly Girl and renowned Hanshin Tigers fan. So I guess their colors are green and yellow.
No, their colors are black and white and yellow. Mostly the yellow. This was like a fan club uniform that came out in 2014 or something it was 2014. It was the year Kosuke went back to the team. And also it's St. Patrick's Day coming up. So great. Which is also why I got cool green Japanese matcha IPA.
Very nice.
From Kyoto. I've had this one on the show before. Oh, I also got a sake juice box because why not have sake juice boxes? There's also, this is a local one that's made here. It's called Bochi Bochi. It is a Japanese style rice lager. Bochi Bochi in Osaka dialect means so-so. And I felt like that described the Cubs. So I picked that one up too.
I just want to say, the whole chat right now is just people saying IFG with lots of exclamation points and welcoming you back. And we're so excited you're here. And
I'm so happy to be here, y'all. Thank you. Excited. I love you all.
We love you too.
And well, let's give away just as a celebration of your return. Oh, that beer's green for St. Patty's.
Green, man. Green. I want one. That is amazing. Will you send me a screenshot of that label?
Absolutely.
Now, matcha just means tea, right? I think
Maybe?
it does.
But
I don't know. Somebody
It's
said that.
it's a green tea that's made as a powder. So
What's
Now it's beer.
How?
now it's here.
What's the ABV?
I also got some matcha Pocky. We're like
I love
rolling with the
Pocky, man.
green.
Pocky are the best.
Well, do you remember those rice or what are those little pineapple cakes that you gave me? But that was from Taiwan, though, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. The pineapple. The word for pineapple in Chinese is the same as the word for luck. So pineapples are good luck in Taiwanese baseball. So like toward the end of the season in the CPBL, you'll see like the teams that are trying to go for the playoffs, or like during the Taiwan series, they'll like hang pineapples from the ceiling of the dugout. It's fantastic.
Well, me and Crawley ate some pineapple cakes and got ourselves a walk-off win because of them. One time.
Amazing.
But then we tried it again and it didn't work. So I'm 50-50 on it so far.
Can't tempt the gods.
So let's give away. Let's see who's lucky right now. Who's got a pineapple in their cap? I guess I don't know where would you put them. The last winner was Haley Kolar. We're gonna draw again though. Hashtag chance in the chat to win the hat and the chance, I should say. And who's gonna win this time? Steve Scherr from Arizona. A lot of great content coming out of Steve. He was at the Kathy Denise kidney reveal. Remember when the kidney got given this spring? I mean, that might be the moment the Cubs got on a good trajectory. The kidney got given, and then Cubs just started winning. Started with spring. Well, congratulations. You won a hat and a chance shirt. So let's talk about this Japan series a little bit more. What do you know about? We play the Tigers first.
Also, what do we need to know? What do I need to be looking for that I don't even know that I should be looking for?
These are really great questions. I don't know. I wish I knew like what the thought process was of the teams going into this series. Like, are they going to play the kids? Or are they going to play the big guys? Or are they going to play the old guys because like people know them more? I don't know. As far as what I do know, I know when we're playing Yomiuri, good chance we see these two. Hayato Sakamoto has been with the Yomiuri Giants since a million years ago. Kazuma Okamoto is a big bopper, and he is fun as hell. Okamoto was on the Samurai Japan team that won the World Baseball Classic with...
What are you holding there? What is that?
Cheer sticks.
Ah.
Samurai Japan cheer sticks.
Cheer sticks were a thing.
Together?
Cheer sticks. How does this work?
Yeah, so like I know I've talked before on here about the CPBL and how all the players have their own cheer songs. Same thing in South Korea and same in Japan. All the teams have a million cheer songs for every possible scenario, and to assist with that, like fans in Japanese baseball have props. So many props. We have towels, which are like signs that you don't have to worry about getting crumpled up and wet because they are just towels. Here's my Roki Sasaki towel. That's my Baystar's hamster guy towel. His name is escaping me at the moment. It's a towel. It's literally a towel. It's literally a microfiber towel. You can take it up. He's swinging around. It's great. But they come with they have cheer sticks too. And that's a lot of it is like in Seiya's cheer song with the carp, the Hiroshima carp. There's a part of his song that goes "Katabase, Seiya, Seiya," and everybody like splits off, and some people say it at one time, some people say it another time. It's a lot of fun, and so you'll see the people come up and they got their cheer sticks and they're like "Katabase, Seiya, 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 Seiya." It's like great.
They're gonna do that on Tuesday. They're definitely doing that song. And the Bleacher Jeff has got to learn it somehow, like in just one day. He's a quick study.
Do we think Al will sing the song?
Mm-mm. He'll be mad that the cheer sticks are in his way. Like they had these damn sticks in my face the whole time. That's what Al will say.
It's a lot of fun. I love I love the props. Like I don't know. I love the things that get the fans into it. You know what I mean?
I love the
We need more of that
coordination
here.
too, like the fact that that they all learn the same song and that everybody knows the song. Like we've got a few. We do "Take Me Out to the Ball Game," but we
Mhm.
just do the same ones every year, and the players don't really have a specific thing. The closest one that I can think of is what the Yankees fans do, and all they do is say the guy's name. It's
Mhm.
not very creative. It's not a whole song. Or they don't have props or well, I don't want Yankee fans to have props. That's just dangerous for everybody. But
And see, that's the stuff that makes me sad, like if I think it adds so much to the fan atmosphere. It's not even just like the team has songs, it's every player has a song. Like all of the major players are gonna have a song. Seiya's song is about the town that he grew up in.
Oh.
It's so cool. He's
who
like
writes the songs?
I don't
They're
know.
Danny Rocket.
The
They're
team,
Danny Rocket.
yeah, it could be anything really.
Does-
Some of them like oh my gosh, Yasuaki Yamazaki, he's a closer for the Yokohama Bay Stars that Shota used to play with. He's got a great walkout song. It is that really popular tune that I can't think of at the moment because I'm trying to think of it. But it's an actual song, and so like while the song is going on, they're like Yasuaki, and they just like say his name. Yamasaki. It's great. It's just
So maybe is it like maybe an existing song in Japan and then they're just like putting new lyrics to it, or because it's the same as like the soccer chants. Like I'm like, who's writing this stuff? And sometimes it's a familiar melody and they put new lyrics, but I don't know who writes it, like booster clubs or probably some club.
It's a lot of different things. So sometimes it's a popular song that they just like alter. Sometimes it's a traditional song that's had new lyrics put onto it. Sometimes it was a baseball song that was written for somebody else 40 years ago and they just changed the lyrics for the new guy. Kosuke did an Imagine Dragons song. Several different Imagine Dragons songs he walked out to throughout the course of his career. There's my Kosuke Fukudome Hanshin Tigers jersey there.
Yeah, I see that. I mean, and I want to talk about the Hanshin Tigers because you actually originally told me this story about the Colonel Sanders curse.
Yes, I was hoping you'd ask about the curse of the Colonel.
Because the Hanshin Tigers were cursed from 1985 for 18 straight years because their fans. Can I just tell a story real quick? They were celebrating a pennant win, basically. They hadn't won the big thing, I think. They had won the series, but they had won the pennant. And they go to this bridge. And to celebrate, one by one, the fans start jumping off the bridge in the order of if you looked like the player, like if they said the guy's name, and if you looked like him, you jumped off the bridge, and that was like the way this. Well, there was a guy. Now I'm gonna draw a blank on his name. I wrote it down. Bass. Was it? Lance? Randy Bass. Randy Bass played a little bit in the major leagues. Big dude, beard, mustache, and he went there and he was a big home run hitter. 1985. So he like led that team. So they got to Randy Bass and there's nobody around that looks like Randy Bass. So they grabbed a Colonel Sanders from in front of a Kentucky Fried Chicken, which is very popular in Japan. They eat it every Christmas. And so they take the Colonel Sanders and they do. They have a special day where they eat, it's Christmas. They eat Kentucky Fried Chicken. And then, but they took
as a commercial.
They took this Colonel Sanders and they threw it in the river, and then they lost for 18 years straight. They said it's the curse of Colonel Sanders. And so years later, they fished it out of the river when they were building a new bridge. They found most of it. And one guy even died trying to get this.
Yeah, and it was fished out in pieces. Like it was a whole thing.
And now you can still see the remnants of it, but it's like a special honor to go see it at Kentucky Fried Chicken Japanese headquarters. I got to get in there. We got to get.
And now, if I recall correctly, they actually have a KFC at Cushion Stadium now. This is Randy Bass, by the way, who evidently looks like Colonel Sanders.
I mean, I can see the resemblance. I'm still on this. They eat Kentucky Fried Chicken on Christmas.
Yeah,
this is the wildest thing I've ever heard in my life.
It was
So-
it's like a Coca-Cola thing where they just
Yeah.
started associating it with Santa, and then all of a sudden it just took off. Yeah.
Christmas is very much an American holiday. So let's eat American food. The KFC Corporation
I
is
like
like,
it.
hey, for Christmas, like American people, they eat turkey. Turkey's basically chicken. Let's have some fried chicken. And so now to this day, they put out special Christmas buckets. So you'll have your chicken. It's got like mashed potatoes and cranberry sauce and like all kinds of stuff and a chocolate cake, I think. That all comes in the KFC Christmas bucket. So you get your KFC Christmas bucket and Christmas dinner is done.
I kind of wish, low key, like we kind of need the freaking Japanese KFC Christmas bucket for our Christmases.
This is unbelievable.
I forgot I had the picture of the fished out Colonel Sanders. There he is.
There he is.
He's got no hands either.
Wait, hold on.
Never found the hands, just like a real.
I'm looking
dead
at a
person.
Christmas bucket. Oh man, that looks like a World War II relic. What happens when you sit at the bottom of the river, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. So just wild. I mean,
They did replace the Colonel Sanders statue at that KFC, by the way. So
yeah, and then they finally won. The Tigers won in 2023.
Yep.
They did have some success in a few years before that, but they didn't win the championship till 2023 again. So, I mean, I know to a Cub fan that doesn't sound like a long time, but there's not as many teams in Japan. So to be that bad, like they came in like last a bunch for years and years and years after coming close that one time. So, and they're kind of like the Cubs, wouldn't you say? And that kind of their reputation of being like the Cubs, whereas like the Yomiuri Giants are like the Yankees of.
Yeah, so like the Yomiuri Giants and the SoftBank Hawks are like the big money teams. They're also the ones that have like a much deeper minor league system. I think the Yomiuri Giants are up to like 4 minor league teams, which is bananas. And the Hanshin Tigers, they play in this old stadium that's like a cathedral. It's gorgeous. My bucket list. I need to go to Koshin Stadium. It's a really unique looking stadium too. The entire infield is made of volcanic dirt. So it's just like black dirt. Just the entire infield. It's gorgeous.
Everybody Google this. I'm not finding a great picture. But I'll
let's see.
All right, I got one.
I probably have one in here.
I got one. I'll bring it up in a second.
Yeah.
No, this is incredible. And they sell and
it's got ivy that grows up the outside of the building. It's so
and like the Cubs, they can pretty much sell out every game. Everybody loves this team.
Oh,
They're beloved. Yeah.
It's the stadium where the famous high school tournament happens and has since approximately the beginning of time. Like they call the tournament Koshin because that's where it happens. But it is the Koshin High School. Look at that. Look at that infield.
Yeah, it's so dark.
That's wild. I like it.
Yeah.
And they do this thing here where at a certain point in the game, I can't remember if it's the 7th inning or the 9th inning or what, they have balloons that they blow up and then they just release them. So there's a point in the game where you'll see like 50,000 yellow balloons just like shooting off into the sky. It's so cool.
It's not very green.
No, they're full of air. So like you blow up your balloon and then you let it go and it goes like a rocket and then it falls down. And
okay, so then you pick it up from there. Like,
yeah, it's not. We're not talking like wasting helium here.
Did you ever see that thing that happened in Cleveland when they released all those balloons and it caused this huge problem? It's like the big everybody look up the big Cleveland balloon fiasco because they really screwed up that one time.
I could not say that, anybody in my family other than myself has ever been particularly like environment minded. But my dad, I remember when I was a little kid, every single time he saw a helium balloon go up into the sky, and he'd be like, another dead sea turtle.
Wow, this is wild. I really did not think anything was going to come up from big Cleveland balloon fiasco, but I did in fact find the big Cleveland balloon fiasco of 1986.
Yeah,
it's a real thing.
Oh wow,
this is my childhood. That's how I knew the world.
This is what it says on Wikipedia. The event was intended to be a harmless publicity stunt. However, the released balloons drifted back over the city and Lake Erie. This is great.
Yeah, no, they really messed up, and it was
1.5 helium balloons.
Yeah, they tried to break it.
It was a world record.
Yeah, that's what they were trying to do. Like, check out there's video of it, and you could kind of tell the moment that they like screw up, or maybe you can't tell, but you could it's just knowing what happened. It's when you see their enthusiasm, it looks sickening,
So speaking of world records, did you hear that Chicago is trying to set a world record tomorrow?
What are we doing?
Oh,
So Polly G's over in Lincoln Square is making the world's largest cannabis-infused pizza for Pi Day.
Ah, I'll
They're
head on
making
over there.
like 5-foot pizza that's got pot in it for Pi Day.
Amazing. I'll go over there. I'm moving to
Respect.
Lincoln Square. Like it seems like they're making this for me. I'm
You
moving there in a
wanna-
month and a half.
The sales start early. I saw it on WGN. So get your spot in line for your cannabis
Your cannabis
pie
pie.
to celebrate Pi Day.
All right. I'd not do it. I mean, I got to work a little bit, but
speaking of world records, so we all know recently MLB has decided that they have I don't know, somehow the right to like annex records from leagues that aren't their own, because it makes them, I don't know, they get to like claim that they're accepting of other major leagues if they take credit for all of the accomplishments that they actively prevented from happening, honestly. Such as, when they claim the Negro League's statistics as now Major League Baseball statistics. So drawing from that, I just want to let everybody know that when MLB eventually annexes Japanese baseball statistics as Major League statistics, we will have a new all-time home runs leader.
yeah, it's Sadaharu O.
Sadaharu O. He is a Japanese and Taiwanese baseball player. He played his entire career with the Yomiuri Giants, which is why it's relevant. Anybody walking around the Yomiuri Giants stadium, they're going to see references to Sadaharu O everywhere. He managed the team for a long time. Check out this career. 868 career home runs from 1959 until 1980.
80. That's a career. And didn't he go away and then come back? And did he try to manage or something? Like there was some.
Yeah, he was a manager of a couple of teams, I think. I think he managed the SoftBank Hawks for a while. He came back and managed the Yomiuri Giants. He refused to leave baseball basically until his dying breath. Incredible baseball player, just a huge presence in the sport. And yes, that is my Yomiuri Giants story. Not as exciting as the Curse of the Colonel, but Sadaharu, oh man, what a guy.
Well, and then
what a baseball player.
But the Yomiuri Giants, I mean, a lot of their success comes from having players like Sadaharu O. I mean, and they're the oldest team. They formed as a team when the Yankees, or not the Yankees, the Babe Ruth, he was a Yankee, but he went over there to Japan with, I believe, Lou Gehrig as well. And then they had like this tour and they brought baseball. This is like in the 20s or 30s. And then they're like, oh, this is great. And they had their own baseball team. And then they come back to the United States and they start playing all these exhibition games with all these Japanese baseball players. This is like before World War II. And they go all the way to San Francisco and they're called like the Nippon something or the Tokyo this. And then the promoter there said, this won't play. Nobody knows how to say these names. We got to give you an American name. So they called them the Giants. He goes, because they're like, you're like the New York of Japan with your big city. So we'll make you like a New York team. The New York Giants were there at the time. And the weird thing is that all happened in San Francisco. So they got named the Giants in San Francisco while the Giants, who they were being named after, were in New York. So just a weird story of how they got to be the Giants. And almost every Negro League team is called the Giants. Like, it's just a team name that was going around everywhere.
Yeah.
So that's how they got their name.
It was going around.
But the manager the owner wanted them to be called the Golden Kites originally. Yeah.
Interesting.
So, and that was a military order that was banished after World War II. So there's no golden kites anymore.
Huh. I know that Yomiuri is they're in their 90th year. They were founded in 1934 as
Okay.
the Kyojin-gun, and we still call them Kyojin. So you know, if you're hanging around on Japan baseball Twitter or whatever, you may see people refer to Kyojin, and that is the Yomiuri Giants. Yeah, they're just so annoyingly good at everything. It's honestly disgusting, and we hate them.
Yeah.
Just
They're
as a general, no, I mean, like,
evil
as far
empire.
as, yes, they're the evil empire. As far as this series goes, you know, I love Shota and Saya. I always want them to do good things. But just like as a general, like, I actively hope the Hanshin Tigers fucking destroy the Cubs. Like, it would be delightful to watch that happen.
But you want us to beat the Giants.
No, mostly if anybody is playing against an MLB team and they are not themselves an MLB team, I want the other team to win. I hope at some point the Savannah Bananas show up and wipe the floor with the Chicago Cubs. I think that would be delightful, hilarious, hysterical, in fact. Especially given the silly little team full of whatever it is we have right now.
The travel ball boys. Yeah.
The travel ball boys.
Well, here's a question though. Like, do you think that the Hanshin Tigers, I mean, it's spring training for them too. These are exhibition games. Do you think that they're going to show up being like, we're going to beat this? Because the Dodgers are doing this too. They're playing both teams as well. So do you think they're showing up being like, we got to beat these guys? This would be like such clout in Japan to beat this major league team. Whereas our guys are going to be like, we're just getting our work in.
Exactly. And that's really what I think it's going to be. I think the Hanshin Tigers are going to show up trying their best and wanting to win the game. And the Cubs are going to be like, this is a daytime practice before we lose against the Dodgers later.
Yeah. Well,
hey, I was told the Cubs are taking this whole we can beat the Dodgers thing very seriously. They're being serious about it. They are here to win this year, y'all. The Cubs are serious.
Mm-hmm. Well, the Dodgers are seriouser if you look at their freaking lineup. We're going to face some freaking, even if they piggyback, they've got like 2 full pitching staffs on that team. You know what I mean? Like, I could put their,
they'll all be hurt by June.
Hang on to Travis Jankowski.
No,
be hurt by June.
No, he's a White Sox now. Like
he's a White Sox now. Did you see that?
Oh, that's kind of a bummer. That might actually mean Mike Tauchman has to sit down sometimes.
So, like, I don't know who we're going to see, but we're certainly seeing Yamamoto and Snell, right? But then after that, they could give us. I mean, you got to think that Roki Sasaki is going to pitch. He's coming back to Japan after just leaving. I'm imagining he pitches.
I hope so. I hope they at least put him out for a relief inning or something like that. I know he was saying that he doesn't feel amazing, but you know, that could be nerves. He's a kid. You know?
I didn't really look into the Dodgers. I figure we could preview this. Like Sarah and I have a show on Monday. We'll preview this whole series in a big way for the Bleacher Bunch. But like, just look at their pitchers. They're better than us. Like they got 3-4 closers. Like, you know, they can just, I'll keep it up there. I saw Sarah was reading it, but I mean, it's just tough. It's a tough lineup. And then that's just their pitching. And then let me show you their hitting. Like, forget about it. You start with Ohtani and, Mookie Betts. And then do I need to say more? Like, yes, I do. His name is Freddie Freeman. Like, Teoscar Hernandez, Max Muncy, Will Smith, Michael Conforto they got now. I don't know.
We might be able to get Michael Conforto out.
Maybe. He's like their weak one. Tommy Edman, which is going to be on base 17 times in this series because that's just how that works. And then they got a new guy from the KBO, Ha-Sung Kim. Do you know anything about him?
I'm pretty sure that they optioned him to the minors.
They did. He's in the minors now. I don't know anything about him. He's very young. So
he's going to be good. He's just not on the Dodgers right now.
But their bench the bench could be starters on our team.
I'm personally offended they didn't bring David Bodie.
That man is the luckiest man in baseball. He just, he gets paid for just hitting one grand slam. And it's true. He's
Yeah.
like folklore, just run into from like awesome team to awesome team as like a professional 4A player, millionaire. I mean, this guy's got it going on.
Everything I've ever heard said that he's like a great dugout big brother for the AAA guys. So like it's kind of like paying a coach to play baseball.
Yeah. So he's
Which,
not gonna,
good for him.
well, he's going to be hanging back with the young guys in Arizona
Yep.
because he's not there. But no, it should be fun. We're going to be on the Discord at 5 a.m. Whoever's going to be up at that point, at least, no cameras at 5. We're going straight audio. Everybody can watch it in their own time. I'm sure we'll all be at different, places in the game, but that's okay. It should be interesting to watch. Can I get your guys' predictions? Like, what do you think happens? And give me the Japanese predictions too.
Japanese predictions. Okamoto homers off of Justin Steele. I don't know if he's probably not. No, you know what? Justin Steele isn't going to play against the Yomiuri Giants. Who the fuck? See, I can't do this because I don't know who's going to pitch against Yomiuri.
Probably Matthew Boyd or
Matthew Boyd. Somebody would be fun.
Or Jamison Tyon's definitely given up some home runs.
Oh, yeah. If it's Jamo, he'll probably do it twice.
Yeah. Jamo's going to they're going to go yard on Jamo.
Jamo gets rocked. Okay.
Oh, that'd be fun.
That's my prediction.
At the Dome?
Jamo's going to get rocked.
I think it's all at the Dome. I think it's all at Tokyo Dome. I don't know that for a fact, but that's what I assume.
I have one more prediction. I think Gage Workman is going to rake. I think Gage Workman raking is going to be one of those like situations that's going to keep Jed Hoyer up at night because he's a Rule 5 guy. And if he's playing that well, you're going to want to play him. But when Nico comes back, you're going to want to play him. And are you really going to sit Matt Shaw for Gage Workman if Gage Workman is raking? I love the things that keep Jed Hoyer up at night. Well, I hope Gage Workman makes Jed Hoyer and Carter Hawkins think way more about that Rule 5 draft than anything they've done in years.
Well, Gage Workman was, I don't know if he was really had the prospect sort of label on him like Matt Shaw does, not in that exact same way, but, he had a great year in Double-A last year. So did Matt Shaw. Like they're both minor leaguers who have never taken a swing in the major league. So I'm looking at him like, what's the freaking difference?
I got to admit, I just had to Google Gage Workman. I have no idea who we're talking about.
But he's awesome.
Yeah. Is he?
He's been really good. He led the team in home runs in spring training with the most at-bats. And I'm like, I kind of love the idea that the Cubs have to have him on the 26 man or else they lose him. And he's just absolutely killing it. Because that's keeping people up at night, and it's great.
Good. They deserve to be kept up at night about something.
Yeah, exactly. There's nothing else going on in the world that would keep us up at night, is there?
Listen,
not those
we already did the whole 15 minutes on NATO.
That's true.
Now I have to look up whether Ireland has an army or not after this.
Well, I think that the Cubs and Dodgers split their series, and I think that they split with Japan too. I think they split with Japan. I think it's just going to be Splitsville, and everybody's going to get all worked up, and then it's just going to be like, we're 1-1.
I have to admit,
is this true? Is this a joke or is this true?
No, his name is Tater. His middle name is Tater. I had a premonition that we're going to be chanting Tater on a very cold April day when he's up there, and we're going to be like, Tater, Tater, and we're going to get that going, and then it's just never going to stop. He's going to hit a home run, and then it'll never stop, and he's going to have a MVP type season.
I'm here for it.
Do we do TFCs on this show? Because
I don't have any, but we can. Yeah,
I'm just showing myself. This is when I learned Travis Jankowski was not on the team anymore. Was when Bleacher Nation shared about it on the Butterfly app, and I was like, oh, the long hair must have had him deviating too far from the staff's general guy who in the line dancing bar who stands way too close to you to complain, why is there a ladies' night but not a men's night as a pickup man aesthetic? That is what I think of the Chicago Cubs right now. Like, apart from literally 7 people, they look like the dude you cover your glass when they walk up to you in the bar.
Yeah. She's not wrong.
Yeah, no, he did have he looked, he looked greasy. I remember when
I'm
Javi,
here for the greasy guy. We need a wet guy. We need an angry guy. We need a naked guy. You can't win without those three guys.
it's true, it's the triumvirate. And I remember when Javi tagged
So
that guy in the face. I looked for that video, but unfortunately that's not searchable. Javi takes Jankowski in the face. So if anybody knows where that video is, I'd like to see it again. I remember watching it live and being like, right in the face. Beer number 2. Here it comes.
I know Mr. Fourth Row is over here going, it's all going to be butchy. It's all going to be okay. It's Osaka dialect. It's like, I don't know.
So it's great to have you on this show. But it is over pretty much. Yeah, I know it feels short when you're only on part of it, but now you can come on again and be on another part of it. So
let's do that. Going. Personally, my main concern going into this whole Tokyo series thing is knowing that in Japan it's being broadcast on Amazon Prime, which means Kosuke is doing the color commentary. Yes. So I desperately, with my entire soul, need to find a pirated version of this because there's no way that I can access it from here legally. But
it's got to be out there somewhere.
You find it somewhere.
Yeah.
If anybody has a link, hook me up.
Yeah, everybody's gonna be watching it, and if that is happening, I'm sure you could find it somewhere. I'm gonna drop a link in the chat because there is still other sports that I don't care about going on, but we do every year. We do the Ranters Bracket Challenge, and I dropped the link in the chat. It's $20 to enter, and half the money goes to the big winner, half the money goes to the Lost Boys, and every year we raise a couple $100 for the Lost Boys. So all you gotta do is you Venmo me and you're in. I put you on the list, and it's Venmo at Danny Rocket, ROCKETT, or you can PayPal Sunranto at
How much am I Venmoing you? How much?
$20, and you're on the bracket challenge, and then you got to. And this is the bracket. This is what I dropped the link to in the chat. It's the Ranters for Lost Boys bracket. I'll click it to make sure it works, and I'll give you the actual name of it.
Can I share this outside of this show?
Oh yeah, no, anybody can join. That's what I'm saying. Share with your friends. We're all raising money. It's called the Ranters Bracket for Lost Boys. So just wanted to share that there. And also Bleacher Bum Band opening day, Output Lounge. It's going to be fun. We were practicing last night. We sound good. The band is back. Gary's back. I don't know if you know Gary, the Cleveland Guardians fan. He's back. Oh, I just got your Venmo, Sarah. Sarah's in. And then
I'm sending it to my fantasy baseball league too, because we one of the years that we won our league called Earth, we donated the proceeds to the Lost Boys, and they all know Levante and the kids, and they love them.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So log into this one, and it should be pretty big. So the winner, we're not doing first, second, third. I like a winner take all tournament.
Winner, you win, you win.
So, so join on to that. IFG, what you been up to? Everybody misses you.
Me, working so much work, with all of the everything that's sort of happening right now. I'm in a place right now, the job that I have, I am a job coach for people who have intellectual and developmental disabilities. It's work that needs doing, right? It is also work that is funded almost entirely through the Department of Education and Medicaid. So basically, I have been in a fetal position, crying in a ball of stress that one day I'm going to go into the office and my code isn't going to work. So every day I am cheering just a little bit that I'm still getting paid to do what I'm doing. And that amount of stress really hasn't left a whole lot of time for watching baseball. I've tried. I have watched 0 spring training games, which is a way less than I normally do, which is all of them. I'm hoping that, either the shoe's going to drop or it isn't or whatever. But by the time the season starts, I think something's going to, I'll be able to, I'm at least going to go to games. In fact, I see a message in the chat here from Dominic Loro. And he's like, hey, did you get that ticket, IFG, for the Mariners game? I am so sorry. I am when I'm stressed, I can't communicate, and it's the worst. I should have texted you, and I'm sorry.
Well, we still have
I did get the ticket. He wants one of the cool, collectible Charlie Brown bobbleheads that they're giving
Ah.
away. If anybody wants a giveaway thing from T-Mobile Park and you need me to mule it to you, let me know. I will go to the game. I will get you the thing. I will mail it to you. I'm very happy to do that.
IFG, beer connoisseur, and bobblehead mule.
That is me. I am good for one thing. Two things.
They're good for lots of things.
Yeah, totally. Well, it's great to have you on the show and talk to you about baseball again, even though we talked about Japan baseball instead of the Cubs. But this is way more interesting than the Cubs. That's the thing about it. That's why you probably got involved watching it anyway.
Yeah, what were you going to do? Talk about Lance Lynn for 90 minutes? Come on now.
Well, that's what the other shows are doing, and apparently they're more successul than us.
I see the thing like what was it? I don't know, MLB trade rumors or something. They're like, are the Cubs going to add to their pitching staff? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, with Lance Lynn, no.
No.
Allow me to remind you, the best Javi Baez, I don't give a shit ever.
Yeah.
Is my reaction to all the things these days. That's what I think of Lance Lynn.
I am remembering.
I enjoyed Lance Lynn's cocky, vulgar, I'm going to say bad things and do whatever because I like a show. I'm here for dinner and a show. It's fine. But you have to be good for that to work.
4 years ago, I'm all aboard.
I'm
You
not.
know what I mean?
I have a question for you. How old do you think Lance Lynn is?
Probably 32. I literally have no idea.
I think he looks 56.
Yes. And that's why I'm like probably 32 because he looks like he could be 52 or 102. I don't know.
Like if we put Carlos Zambrano and Lance Lynn next to each other and you told me one of them
I'd be like, oh no, Carlos
in
is younger.
Major League Baseball next year, I'd be like Carlos Zambrano, obviously.
Isn't Carlos Zambrano like my age?
He's young.
He's younger than you think he is too, but he's also older than Lance Lynn, apparently, which is weird.
And he's a preacher now. So if you're looking for a new church, Zambrano, he had a Facebook church
of Z.
Yeah.
I wonder if they have holy Gatorade. That would be sick.
I would buy a Church of Z t-shirt.
Church of Z. Yeah, I mean, I'm
not going to go to the service, but I'd buy the t-shirt.
We could do worse. You could do worse.
You could do worse when picking a religion, I think. Well, let's give. We could be a religion. The Bleacher Bunch could be a religion because at least we give away hats. When's the last time a church gave you a hat? Huh? Probably a lot of churches do that, but you got to pay. This is free. Sent to you by me with also a chance postcard. Let's give one more away. I've got 3. I got 2 more actually, but I'm going to give them away at the Bleacher Bunch show or the Bleacher Bum Band show. Going to share my screen here. We're giving away one more, which Steve Sure won last time. Ooh. And who's going to win this time? We're about to find out. Who's it going to be? Round and round she goes. Where she stops, only Robert Sanchez knows. You know what? And I'm glad Robert won. And I've got a reason why. Is because Robert helped me this morning of all times. Like just this morning, because Robert is a pharmacist and Ronnie Woo Woo has been very sick. We've been talking about that on Sun Ranto. He's in a medical rehab center right now. He's not really getting better. And they want to put him on this drug that's $10,000 a month. And it's to get rid of I forget what it's called, pulmonary fibrosis that he has, right? So I'm talking to Janet, who's, the woman that basically keeps him alive and said, hey, there's might be some other drug that's not 10,000. Who's going to pay for this? This is just a death sentence if this is what he needs. So, I looked it up and, I don't want to be like that guy who's going to go into the doctor and be like, actually, well, I've got another drug you might want to try, but you actually do have to do that because they will push the $10,000 thing on you and not the $300 generic that should probably be free if we had a proper society that functioned. But anyway, Robert answered my question. He didn't know too much about it. He says because that one that they prescribed, the $10,000 one, I believe it's called Ofev. That drug is a designer drug that is not available at every pharmacy, as you might imagine, being $10,000. So anyway, so he gave me some advice about what to do. I relayed that to Janet. So that's why I'm glad Robert won. This is what being a part of a big community is about. Because Robert is like down in Southern Illinois helping out Ronnie Woo Woo, who's in a rehab, through this connection that we have, which is Cubs fandom.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's really interesting. Like, I know that it's like, you don't realize when you're going to like pick up your $6 antibiotics from the Kroger, that the pharmacist there is like, they have gone to as much school as doctors have. Like, they have gone to school for 6 years specifically to learn about medications. And, doctors who are doing doctor things, they're not necessarily as updated on prescription medication and how it's used and medical interactions and things like that. Like, your local pharmacist is the person who is going to be calling your doctor and correcting them when they make a mistake in your dosage. So if you have questions about your medications, about medical interactions, if you want to try a new supplement and you want to know it's not going to interact with something that you're taking, go talk to your pharmacist. It's going to take you 3 months to get in to see your doctor to talk about it. And they're going to be like, I don't know. And they might go Google it. Talk to your pharmacist. It's what they do. It is literally their job to know medicine. So, yeah, love you, Robert. Thank you for doing what you're doing.
Here he is in the chat saying, what up? So send all your drug questions to Robert. I'm kidding. Robert's like, you bastard. And he also says, preach IFG. Exactly. I mean, and that's the other thing. We have such a myriad of talents and ways at it through our community, too. So it's just great to be a part of it. I'm pretty damned thankful myself. So thank you, Robert. And thanks, IFG. And thanks, Sarah, for being here with the Bleacher Bunch. I want to thank Matt Kammerer and his permanent paintings on the Etsy store. Also in the Clutch t-shirts. You guys rock. And it's code Sunranto for 10% off there if you're nasty. There is that new shirt that they're selling, the 2025 Japan Series shirt. So go check that out. They've also got some new styles of basketball style baseball shirts. I don't know. Just go check it out. It's pretty cool. And what else? I guess that's the show.
Thanks for dragging me out of the cave and getting me on here.
Yeah, I knew Japanese baseball would do it.
You got to come back for the Japan Series. We'll do it again.
All right.
Hell yeah.
Let's go.
Okay, well, from the Bleacher Bunch and all the great shows that are a part of it, we'd say thank you for being here tonight, and have a great night, everybody. Peace.
Spagog.
Here's the story of a bunch of podcasts who were bringing Cubby content to the world. All of them did their own show. Unconnected, obsessive baseball nerds. It's the story of a bunch of Cubs fans who are consolidating all their shows. They're uniting, doing it together, so we all can grow. Cup of Cubby Blues combining with Sunranto, baseball rabbit hole and Cubs PS Plus. With Cubs Pod and Briggs behind the ivy, they're all teaming up to be the Bleacher Bunch, the Bleacher Bunch. We love the Cubs, that's the way we